All right, we were talking, of course, about the general election. The last go-around, the go-around before that, Donald Trump winning this state comfortably by about 10 points. So that was over Joe Biden last go-around, over Hillary Clinton the go-around before that. So it looks like a state that could still stay Republican. That's anyone's guess. New Hampshire can sometimes be a different creature, of course. It's increasingly seen as a purple state today. It depends on your perspective or view. My next guest might disagree with the Purple Party's Governor Chris Sununu, who is a big supporter of Nikki Haley. Governor, good to have you.
Good to see you. We're very red, but, you know, we're surrounded by the blue state, so it kind of gets a little purple tinge because of our proximity.
Got it. And some Democrats and Republicans sneak back and forth in there. But what is your sense of this race for your candidate, Nikki Haley? You know, some say she hit a speed bump when she was visiting your state to say that, you know, New Hampshire fixes whatever Iowa does. You know, she said it was, you know, said in good fun and good humor. You said pretty much the same when last we chatted. But you think it hurt her?
Well, no. Look at the polls. They've just skyrocketed for her in both Iowa and New Hampshire since then. And it's because she's doing the work, right? She's on the ground. She's in the diners. She's doing the town hall. She's answering anybody's questions. Trump's not doing that. You're lucky to get him to fly in once a week to do a rally and then get the heck out of there. So she's really doing the work. She's earning it. She hasn't set any expectations for Iowa, but she's still doing incredibly well there. So I still think here in New Hampshire, she's got a real shot to do what no one thought was possible, which is beat Donald Trump. In both states, it's all about getting the vote out, right? If you're sitting on the couch watching this, if you're a Republican that's, you know, frustrated with Donald Trump, go out and caucus for Nikki Haley. If you're one of these people that say that Trump is the end of democracy, well, then participate in the democratic process and go caucus for Nikki Haley. Make it something that you can affect the change on. And in Iowa, almost anybody can do it. In New Hampshire, it's Republicans and undeclared. So I think you're going to see a very high turnout on both in Iowa and New Hampshire for both the caucus and the primary.
Does it disturb you as a Republican, though, Governor, Nikki Haley supporters, and I got evidence of that today in a diner, talking to many of them, are more inclined to support a Democrat than they would Donald Trump if it came down to a general election and he were the nominee? What do you think of that?
Yeah, look, Joe Biden has just crushed the country because he's not even managing anything. It's not even. I mean, you can kind of blame him, but it's these unnamed staffers, it's the bureaucrats that are crushing the country with inflation, regulations, lack of management, all this wokeism. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. So again, the best way to hedge against that is to kind of move us forward with that new generation of leadership, getting behind Nikki Haley.
I'm sorry, Governor, I wasn't clear.
But
what
yeah,
they're saying, but Governor, what they're saying is they would support that Democrat. They would support Joe Biden if push came to shove and it was a choice between
troubling.
The president and the last president.
Yeah, there's no doubt that is troubling because what Biden has done to this country is so bad. There'll be time to, again, galvanize the Republican Party together after the primary. That always happens, regardless of who the candidate is. I think it's going to be Nikki. I think she's got a shot. But no, this country needs a major turn away from Joe Biden for sure.
Let me ask you a little bit about support. Your support has been very helpful to Governor Haley, and it's certainly boosting her poll numbers in your state. I am curious, though, Governor Kim Reynolds, who Donald Trump has said a number of nasty things about, still says in the end, if her candidate, Governor DeSantis, doesn't make it, she would support Donald Trump, despite all of that. Donald Trump has also said a number of nasty things about you. Do you feel the same way? If he is the nominee, you would support him?
Oh, sure. Yeah, look, it's not going to happen. It isn't. But we're going to galvanize the Republican Party. You just have to. You have to move this country forward away from these very socialist policies. Now, as a Republican, again, I keep going back to Nikki because Trump would be a nail-biter of a race, right? Maybe win, maybe lose. Nikki wins by 10, 15 points, and we get the House, we get the Senate, we get the governorships, you get your school boards out there. These things that really, really matter to kind of win with that kind of mandate would be unprecedented. But it's right there. It is right there for us. But we got to galvanize behind a winning candidate who isn't yesterday's news and always stuck with this chaos and drama, all the whining and complaining. Trump just isn't strong, right? I mean, we'd galvanize behind him if we had to, but he's far and away the weakest of the Republican candidates.
Real quickly, you lifted her poll numbers up, had a lot to do with it in New Hampshire. I think you can take about, for some of that at least, you might have helped and done the same thing in Iowa. And I was thinking to myself, wouldn't you make a perfect running mate then for Nikki Haley?
Nothing I'm thinking. Look, nothing I'm thinking about, to be sure. I'm just excited that it's working, right? That whatever we're doing, and it's not because Chris Sununu, right? The media won't pick the nominee. Chris Sununu won't pick the nominee. The voters. What we're really doing is engaging the voters to come out and vote and participate in the process, where they have so much say in both Iowa and New Hampshire. So that's all it really is. We're just helping get out the vote as best we can, and the more people that come out and vote, the better chance we have of turning the country and the party around.
But she might just say, you've offered me the Midas touch, Governor Sununu. You're my guy. I want you to be my running mate, you would say?
Look, I'd do anything for Nikki Haley, but probably not that. That's not my gig. I don't think Washington could handle me, Neil. I don't know. I think I'm a little too hot.
All right. That's an old Meatloaf song, but we don't have time to get into that. But all right, Governor, always good catching up with you. Look forward to seeing you next week when we're in New Hampshire.
You bet, buddy.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.